It's time for the DIY Chameleon guys.
Hello, all you DIYers. We are back. It is me, James Cross, and we are here with Stephanie Payne. Stephanie, welcome back.
Hello.
All right. Well, last episode, to just give everybody a recap, we talked about Stephanie's incredible build where she got some French doors that were being thrown out and built an entire enclosure around it. And we've been marveling at the artistry and the workmanship. But the outside is only part of it. There is the inside. And today we're going to be talking about how Stephanie put together this naturalistic inside that we see back there. All right, James, how you doing?
I'm doing great, Bill. How are you?
Wonderful, wonderful. Stephanie, how things going over there?
Yeah, we're doing good. It was a little warm, long week, but we got through it again. Can't wait to get into this discussion because this thing is unbelievable, Bill. Somebody who just no real construction experience, got inspiration from two doors in the trash, turned them into this. What the heck?
Yeah, this is pretty impressive. All right, and Stephanie, how's things going over there?
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me on. It's an incredible honor, like I said.
And we are seeing the wonderful work of art behind you. And so let's see. We can where should I start, James? How should we start on this?
Well, let's start with the basics of her insides. Okay, look at that. You know what I'm seeing in there, Bill? Look at that. Look at that bottom. What's that stuff on the bottom?
You know what? I know this. I know this answer. That is Flex Seal.
Boom! Flex Seal.
Boom,
Where'd you get that idea from, Stephanie?
A guy named James Cross.
Oh my goodness! I need a sponsorship from Flex Seal.
Wow.
You do.
Yeah. Well, walk us through this, Stephanie. What do we got going on here?
All right, so I just trying to get a layout of where I'm going to put things. I had collected things for the past year or two, and you can see that big piece of driftwood on, I guess it's the right side. Probably opposite.
Let me ask you a quick question. Is this thing standing up or laying down?
In this picture, I think it's laying down.
Okay, so that's how you were able to keep things in place. You laid it on its back, and then you started your process. Okay, go ahead.
And so, yeah, I just kind of fiddled around with how I wanted it to flow and what would be beneficial for the chameleon. And, I tried to make, there's cork bark tubes that I plan to put plants in. And I tried to make it so it would be clear in the basking area, and to kind of just give a bunch of like areas for plants but also open areas for him and the plants to grow. And
so that's a great subject right there. You literally tried to design this so that you had open areas and closed areas for your chameleon for your habitat. That was in your planning of the way you designed this. Yep. Great concept there. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Now, wait a minute. We got some tubing there. Is that for a drip system?
I do see some tubing.
Yes.
Is that tubing, Captain Stubing?
What the heck?
I did try to put. I wanted to put a dripper in at the top, and I still can do that if I want to. So I did design it to have I know it's frowned upon, but a water feature in this. But it's not really. I don't know exactly if I'm moving Kahuna into the enclosure, so I made it so just in case I never have chameleons again, or if he doesn't go in this for a while, I can have a little waterfall in there. And I put actually, there's a filtration system. Um, and what else? Um, and it's easy to clean and remove. But anyway, so the one at the top is for a dripper. So I built a reservoir at the bottom. I think you can kind of see it in the picture, so that when it drips, this reservoir will catch majority of the water, um, and not saturate the soil too much. For that will be, the soil that will be around that reservoir, um,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah. So I put the um, tubing up to the top for the dripper.
Okay.
But there's a second one lower too. So there'll be like a pump to pump the water.
So I noticed that you've got a solid back and solid sides. You did that so that when you have your mist king in, water doesn't go everywhere. Was that your concept behind that?
Yes. Yeah. Well, I like the three solid sides to help, hold the humidity in. I have very dry winters, so I really need help in the winter. But summer's a little easier. Uh, but yeah, that's what I love about the three sides, solid sides.
I, I've been using that concept for a while until I started doing the fronts too, but that's great. Let's go to the next picture, Bill. What is that? Cottage cheese?
Yep. So yeah, I use some great stuff. Great stuff is it called? Foam
Yeah.
spray.
Yep.
That's what it is.
Yep.
And I used two kinds. I got the pond one that's black, and the regular kind. I kind of didn't. I wanted to try. I like the black stuff, but it's a lot more expensive. It's easier to
Mm-hmm.
work, I think, but it's just way too expensive for this whole thing. So I just used it for the where the bark sticks are, and the driftwood. Um, and yeah, so I just spray foamed and let it cure for a little while, and then I use this kind of like a raking tool to take off the puffiness, and kind of make it look more like a rock face.
Mm-hmm.
And I also can use this drill. I use my drill, and it has this wire. Um, I don't. You may
Wire
know.
wheel.
Yeah, and it spins really fast, and it shaves it off really quickly. But it makes a lot of mess. So because it just goes everywhere. So I usually use that, but since it was indoors, I just used the. It's actually a tool for pottery, and it has like a sharp round edge, and it just hooks onto the thing perfectly. Um, and yeah, so I just try to make it look more like a rock. Uh, the great stuff, foam spray.
Wow, that's awesome. Let's go to the next one, Bill.
Here we go. We got a little
Oh,
Oh,
carving going on.
yeah, that's the carving. Yeah, more of the carving. Um,
so
I
it looks
filled
like you
a
also
whole
did
gar-
some. Go ahead.
I filled a whole garbage bag up of the pieces that I picked off, totally full to the brim. I was like, kind of funny with all the product you buy, how much you get rid of.
So you were able to. You didn't like something, and you were able to change it. Is that what you're saying?
Well, the foam spray, I don't like the foam spray. It's just naturally puffed up.
Uh
Um,
huh.
I take off and kind of chisel it and shape it, and make it look more. It kind of just gives it more of a natural look than later
Mm-hmm.
how it puffs up, um, and uh, and you can shape it like more detailed if you want. But it does make a lot of mess, as you can see on the bottom, and it takes a little bit of time to do that. But it makes a huge difference because it really if you use acrylic paint or silicone or dry lock, whatever your choice to put on top of the spray foam, it really adheres to it a lot better, and it kind of just looks better. It when you have it regular, and you don't pick off any the smooth part. It kind of just is very streaky. The paint that you use,
Okay.
you have to use a couple of coats, and it just goes on a lot better. The products that you use on top goes on a lot easier and looks a lot better if you scrape off the smooth areas, the top.
So the smooth areas, they kind of look shiny.
Yes, yeah,
Yeah.
the top part is very shiny,
And it
smooth.
looks
Doesn't look,
bubbly.
Looks
yeah,
bubbly, bulbous.
Bubbly.
yeah. So it's I love the way that looks so much better. A
And
lot
it
of
looks like you added some more sticks to it too at that moment, at that point.
Yep, yep. I added more branches. I think this is Virginia creeper, which I have growing wild out here. I really like the flexibility of the branch, and
Uh-huh.
and it's very durable. I still have a ton in Kahuna's enclosure after all these years, and um, they're just really sturdy but flexible. So I try to use them a lot.
Awesome. That looks great.
And I noticed
Great.
the 1/4 inch tubing. You've already decided where it's going to go, and so it is embedded inside the Great Stuff foam.
Hmm. Yep, yep. That so that one's supposed to be for the dripper, and it comes out. So I kind of have a super long right now. I still have it kind of super long because I haven't
Mhm.
decided what I'm doing with it yet. Um, but it will. I'll probably have to move it anyway. But then there's also another one further down. Um, if I don't think you can see it, but yeah, so there's two of those that are supposed to be for like a dripper type style.
Okay.
Okay. Let's go to the next one. Here's where we start seeing some serious changes. Boom. Okay, what's going on here? How did we get it all dark like that?
So I used a couple things. I like I said, I wanted to make it look like rocks,
Mm-hmm.
so I needed to have it dark. Um, Majority of it had to be dark, and then I wanted to add more lighter colors on top, so it kind of looks a little more realistic with
Mm.
shadows and lighting. So that was the first step, is getting it dark, and I used black silicone uh,
Okay.
for that. Me,
So
yes,
you put silicone over the top of it, put on some rubber gloves, and just started rubbing
yep,
it into all the nooks and crannies, and kind of like finger painting.
yeah, yep.
Huh?
Yeah, that was it was a lot of time consuming because it takes a while to get in those little air holes.
Nooks and
Yeah.
right.
Um, and yeah, so I think in the next picture it may look a little lighter and more rockier. Yeah. So then I added dry lock for the gray and
Okay.
brown silicone and um, I did gray, black, and brown silicone. Yeah. So and I think I had some like light gray silicone because
So
I
what I think is really neat is the way, instead of doing what I've done, I just cheat and paint. You actually use materials that had the color in it. So that way it actually goes, it's kind of gives it more of a deeper effect, don't you think?
yeah, I think it kind of really helped make it look like rocks.
Yeah.
It's
And
the
so
first
you
one.
painting the dry, is the dry lock having any issues sticking to the silicone?
No, because that was dry, but the silicone was dry by
Okay.
this. first layer was dry by the time I added the second layer.
Okay.
So I let each layer dry and kind of cure before I added the next one.
And when you're doing that silicone part, I'm sure the fumes were pretty intense. So did you do that outside? Did you wear a mask? Did you have some kind of ventilation?
No, it was. I was shocked. The silicone really wasn't that stinky. I don't
Okay.
know the type I used, or
Okay.
I just opened a
Just
window
curious.
and it really wasn't that bad. I had a fan on and windows and doors open. Maybe because it was like a breezy day,
Mm-hmm.
it helped. But yeah, it wasn't terrible. It's kind of like the Flex Seal, kind of just a
Right. Yeah.
light odor. Yeah,
Flex Seal gives you a little bit of smell too. I see some tiny balls on the bottom.
Yes.
that's
Look at
the
all the little balls.
that was
So
like a
those
fun
are what do you call them, Bill?
Lecca.
light.
Leica? And what's the purpose of those, Steph?
So that's my false bottom, if you will.
Uh-huh.
Um, so since I'm going to be planting stuff in that bottom area,
Uh-huh.
I don't want to saturate the soil. So I did like about an inch and a half of a false bottom. I didn't really need too much because I already have drainage. So anything that builds up will just fall right into the bucket anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah, so that's the the Leica.
Yeah, and then you've built that little trough down there to catch your dripper to keep things in the center there. I see.
Yep, yep. It's just kind of I wanted to plan ahead. I just wanted, this thing took so long that whatever I wind up doing with it, I just wanted to have options. So that could really help catch additional water that I don't want going into the soil. Like it has drainage too, but I'm really like to let my soil dry out fully sometimes. That way the plants can, kind of want water again. And when it's soaked all the time, it's not as good.
Yeah.
I should add that I added a window screen on top of the Leica, um, so that the soil doesn't fall through.
Okay, here we go. Looks like we're going to do some planting in the next one.
So this is me
Oh,
Yeah,
trying
this
to.
is your favorite part. I know. I can feel it. All of a sudden,
there's the
I'm feeling.
Monstera. There's the Alocasia.
Yeah, I'm starting
I'm
to feel some
seeing a
serious
begonia in
Stephanie
there.
love coming out of that picture right there.
Yeah, I had lots of fun with this part. Yeah, so I just tried to work. I want to cover the bottom with rocks, with big stones, so that Bruno never goes to the bottom anyway. I really don't see him ever venturing. But just careful, I added rocks, and then I'm probably gonna add like sheet mood moss stuff, kind of like big and chunky.
Uh
Um,
huh.
and if I have to, but I like the rock look anyway. So I was just messing around with where to put things, and you know, kind of like this layout, but I changed it up a bit. Um, and obviously the top isn't done yet. And this is the finished one. I'm still gonna probably add a few more branches up top, um, but I really want the vines to come in. Yes. So basically, what I did with the front sides was
Ah.
added waterproof LED strips up the side, because one problem I had with Kahuna's enclosure is the bottom never really got a lot of light. And so these are waterproof, and they're just very, flexible, or what, they're just like, you can roll them up if you wanted to. And I just kind of super glued them and silicone them up the side corner of the
Uh-huh.
enclosure. And then I also added pothos. I think that's an enjoy pothos on this
Looks like
side,
it.
and then the other side is a golden pothos. Um, and they are super glued because that doesn't hurt the plant with sphagnum moss all the way up the top. So I'm hoping that will continue growing and create more highways as it grows. Um, and it should have help, uh, further down because of the LED strips, which I really, really hope they work. So
Okay.
far, it seems good. It's been working during all my test runs. So, as far as the plants, I also added that Monstera. I think it's called a Esquinado. I may be saying it wrong, but it's a beautiful big leaf Monstera that kind of looks like an Addisonii, but
Uh-huh.
ginormous. And that
Yeah,
was
that's a nice one.
really happy I bought that one because I went to the store like 2 or 3 times, and I called my husband because it's kind of expensive, and I was like, should I do this? And he's like, you want it? You go. You're putting all this work into this thing, so he gave me the go ahead, and I got it. I'm very happy I did because I think it's the plant that I see.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
And what's
beautiful.
that flower in there? Is that an orchid?
Yep. Yeah, I got an orchid. I have trouble. I can keep them alive, but I have trouble getting them to bloom. But I'll give it a try in here. Hopefully, it will work. And but I put a lot of ferns in there. I think 4 ferns in there. And the silver dragon alocasias at the bottom. I have
Mm-hmm.
the oh god, what's that one that you really like? The fern that you really like, Bill.
The
The
maiden's hair.
Maybe.
Yes, hidden hair fern is in there. I've had a lot of luck with that one. I've had it alive for maybe three years,
Oh
4 years.
wow, nice.
So I'm hoping it will do okay. There. The moment I see it do bad, I'm taking it out. Um, but yeah, so I have that one in there, and I also did Spanish moss. I don't know if I'll keep that in there with Kahuna in there because it's kind of a little too, you know, if he catches it on his tongue.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think I'm going to keep it in there. But as it stands now, he's not going to be in there for at least a couple months. I really want some of the pothos to fill in a little bit more.
Yeah,
Um,
that when chameleons, like if he gets a cricket on that Spanish moss, he'll just keep
Chew.
pulling, reeling in the Spanish moss.
yeah,
That's just the way chameleons do it.
yeah. So I definitely have to do some, you know, safety things before he goes in there. Um, but what else is in there?
Well, I have a question. Have you ever tried using doing fuchsias inside these terrariums?
No, I bought my first uh, fuchsia last year. It's very well outside. I tried to. I guess they really like to stay wet, right?
Well, I'm still working on figuring out fuchsias and getting it right.
Yeah, yeah. They're. I had a little trouble with them outside, so I'm gonna try it again as soon as I find a pretty one.
Okay.
The one that I've seen lately, I'm not spending that money for the one I bought. Was like ginormous and gorgeous, um, and it was like only $30. But yeah, I would love to put one of those in there. I really want to put the Mandevilla.
Uh huh.
Mandevilla. Um, I want to put. Actually put a little cutting at the top. You can probably see it right at the top in the back with the little vine. That's basically all I have. But I'm hoping that it takes off. And then I also put a couple other pothos in there. Uh, the silver one. I forget which
Right.
one that's called.
Are you talking about the satin?
Satin, yes. Yes, I have a satin and a neon pothos. They're
Oh
just
yeah.
cuttings, so they're just.
Here's my satin.
Oh
Stephanie's
wow!
talking Bill's language.
Yeah, yeah.
All of a sudden, Bill got comfortable in the room. Did you feel that?
I see. Well, okay.
Uh-huh.
Hey.
That's a gorgeous one. My my original one is like half that size. Hopefully, one day it will get that big. Um, and what else do I got in there? And I have a regular Monstera Delicioso in there. Kahuna loves. He has one right next to his enclosure, and he always loves to just sit on it. And I have a that was a cutting that I had, you know, just sitting around. So I put it in there for him, and hopefully it will grow. But I'll definitely have to keep an eye on it because it can't grow too much.
Okay. So, what are the next steps for this enclosure?
Well, like I said, I want to have it grow in a little more, so he can have a little more coverage before he can move in. I want to make sure that the drainage is still okay, and everything is sealed. So I'm gonna run things like the misting system. I have a Mist King misting system I just hooked up, and hopefully that will keep the plants happy and everything. What else is there? Like I said, I have to still paint the feet. The feet are very tiny little balls at the bottom, so I keep on forgetting to paint them. Um, and what else do I have to do? The one more coat of polyurethane on the outside, and think I think that's it. I think that's
Yeah.
it.
What are you using for lights on top?
Oh, so I'm a little nervous. I have a Spider Farmer SF 600, I think it's called. Um, and Spider Farmer is an excellent LED light for growing plants indoors. The problem I'm nervous with, and I don't know if you guys even know this, but Kahuna actually got really bad burns
Hmm,
from an LED light, but it was a bulb, and he,
interesting. Okay.
yeah, it, he was probably about 8 inches away from it. Obviously it's not hot at all, and I just figured it'd be fine. And I didn't realize what happened. I thought it was his UVB or his basking light or whatever. I had the Arcadia Jungle Dawns in his enclosure, but when I let him free roam, I had the you know LED lights for my regular plant, and I figured it would be fine because they don't produce any heat or UVB. But he got burned, and I had
Yeah.
to take him to the vet and all that kind of stuff. So anyway, I'm really concerned about the um, grow light that's in there. That it will do that, but these were bulbs that burned him, so I don't think it's going to be like, because this is kind of like a Jungle Dawn style where it's
All right.
so I may just take that down and get a couple Jungle Dawns instead. So
Okay.
we'll see.
And for people looking at this, the viewers out there who are looking at this and saying, "Oh, this is incredible," what kind of advice would you have for people saying, "I want to do that"?
Do it. Yeah, a lot of people always tell
Hey,
me
now you're
like,
sounding like James.
I felt a little of me in that comment.
yeah, it's I think people don't think they can do it. They're like, oh, I just don't have the experience or whatever. But like I said, you plan it out, you figure out whatever that first step is, and do that first step, and then you do the next, figure out what the next step is, and just keep going. And then sooner or later, it starts to make sense and come together.
Okay. All right. James, do you have any final questions or comments?
I've just, again, I step back and I look at this thing and I go, geez, Bill. I mean, here I am, Joe Construction Guy, but look what this young lady did with just being creative. It is truly awe-inspiring. It is beautiful. It is. It's one of those things that that you don't see very often in the community. So she definitely took it to another level, and I have to give you major kudos for what you pulled off here, especially with such little construction experience, but with the ability to really want to do it. And man, it turned out bitchin'. I'm sorry, that's a California word. Um,
Thank you.
it turned out awesome, and I think you should be really proud of yourself, Stephanie. And I'm so glad you let us show it here on the show. And I hope you inspire some other people to go out there and do the same thing.
Oh, I hope so too. I really hope that people give it a try because it's a lot of patience. But if you have patience, you'll definitely be able to do this.
Can we see Kahuna, please, Bill?
Okay, Kahuna, coming up,
Please,
We need to
right
see
now.
Kahuna. All right, yes.
Bring up the Kahuna.
There's the boy.
Boom. Huh? There's the guy that might be living in that cage in the future. Well,
Yeah.
Stephanie, I just want to thank you so much for allowing us the opportunity to look at your beautiful habitat, explaining how you did it, and inspiring other people.
No,
Um,
having me.
it was a great experience. Bill, can we go out playing that TikTok video?
We absolutely can. All right, I'm going to go ahead and roll the video, and we will see all of you next week.
We'll
See you
see you all
later.
later.
Bye.
Just build it.